For centuries, a powerful force kept its grip on the minds of millions, controlling what they could say, believe, and even think. A force so strong that to question it was considered a crime. To doubt, to search for the truth, or to leave it behind meant risking everything, even your life. People lived in constant fear, their voices silenced, their thoughts controlled, and their questions buried. The truth was carefully hidden, manipulated, and rewritten to fit a narrative that served those in power, and anyone who dared to ask the tough questions or challenge that narrative was erased, disappearing without a trace. The people were kept in line, not just through fear, but through a complete and utter control of what they could know, and what they could silence was not just encouraged, it was enforced. But things have changed. The internet, something no army could ever defeat, is doing what centuries of power couldn't. It's revealing the truth that was hidden for so long, shining a light on the parts of the faith that were kept in the dark. The digital age has given us access to information and a platform for voices that were once silenced. Now we are free to ask questions and search for the truth without fear of punishment, and you too are part of this journey. I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Let's keep this conversation going. Now, let's dive in. Islam is still the fastest growing religion in the world, but there's something many people don't see behind. More people are being born into Islam, but at the same time, more people are leaving it than ever before. Why is that happening? The internet. The truth is no longer kept locked behind the walls of mosques or state-controlled sermons. The internet has broken Islam's hold on its narrative. If you're Muslim and watching this, I challenge you. Don't just take my word for it. Look at what your sources say. Then ask yourself, is this really the truth? Does a true religion need threats and fear to keep its followers? Does it need to hide the truth to protect itself? We're not here to insult anyone. We're here to expose what's hidden. If Islam is the truth, it should be able to stand up to questions. If it can't, it might be time to let it go. Let's start looking at some key issues. In Islamic belief, there's something called taqiyya. This is the idea that Muslims are allowed to lie to protect themselves or their faith. You can find this idea in the Quran, like in verse 328. It says that believers should not take non-believers as friends, unless they're protecting themselves. This permission to lie is often interpreted to protect Islamic interests, especially when Muslims feel threatened. Some scholars even say it's okay to lie in wars or to bring peace between people. There are also hadiths where Muhammad reportedly allowed lying in marriage, war, or to bring peace. This creates a huge problem when we try to trust what Islam teaches. While many Muslims may be honest, the concept of taqiyya opens the door for dishonesty when it suits their needs, even if it's to protect Islam's image. Now compare this to the Bible, which condemns lying. The 10 Commandments, for example, say you should not lie. It's a sin, not a strategy. God is described as a being of truth. In Christianity, truth isn't optional, it's the foundation. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, the life. Truth is crucial. It's not just a tool for spreading the message, it's part of the very nature of God. If a religion needs to lie to spread its message or defend itself, that raises questions about where it comes from. The truth doesn't need lies. Falsehoods do. That's why taqiyya exists. It's a big issue Islam faces. The permission to lie goes beyond protecting Islam. Muhammad is reported to have said that it's okay for a man to lie to his wife to make her happy. This means men are allowed to deceive their wives, even in their most intimate relationship. Plus, Muslim men are allowed to marry up to 4 wives at once, even if the first wife doesn't agree. That doesn't sound like love or respect. A religion that allows men to deceive their wives and marry multiple women behind their backs. Can this really come from a holy being? Is that how a just God would design marriage? Leaving Islam isn't just frowned upon, it's punished severely. In many places, apostasy, or leaving the religion, is considered a crime. This is not just a cultural practice, it's supported by Islamic text. In one hadith, Muhammad is reported to have said, whoever changes his religion, then kill him. This is not a metaphor. Many scholars have taken this literally, and throughout history, this has justified the death penalty for those who leave Islam. Today, countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Somalia still punish apostates severely, sometimes with the death penalty. Some people interpret verses in the Quran to support this. For example, Quran 4:89 says, "But if they turn back, then seize them and kill them wherever you find them." This has been interpreted by some as a justification for killing those who leave Islam. But let's stop and think, why would a religion need to threaten people with death to keep them? Jesus said, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." Jesus didn't use violence to get followers. He didn't force anyone to follow him. True faith doesn't need to trap people. It transforms them from the inside out. If someone has to fear for their life just to leave, then that system seems more about control than about truth. People often hear about Muhammad's marriage to Aisha, but there are other, less talked about events in Islamic history that are just as disturbing. These events are recorded in the sources of Islam. One such event is the massacre of the Jewish tribe of Banu Qurayza. After a siege in Medina, Muhammad approved the execution of the men, and the women and children were enslaved. Historians report that Muhammad himself oversaw the digging of a trench where about 600 to 900 men and boys were beheaded. The women were taken as spoils of war. One of them, Saifiyya bint Huyai, was taken as a slave, and Muhammad married her the same day. What kind of prophet allows such violence and then takes one of the victims' wives for himself? Even by the standards of ancient wars, this is shocking. Contrast that with Jesus. Jesus forgave his enemies, healed the sick, and showed love even to those who hurt him. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Jesus didn't lead with violence. He led with love. One used violence to spread power. The other laid down his life to save the world. The difference is clear. For years, Islamic apologists have claimed that the Quran contains scientific miracles. They say it predicted embryology, the shape of the earth, the expansion of the universe, and even black holes and atoms. These claims have been used to appeal to people in the West, especially those interested in science. But when we actually look at these verses, they don't hold up. Take the claim about embryology in the Quran. The verse most often quoted is Quran 23:14, which says, "Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot, and we made the clot into a lump, and we made the lump bones and covered the bones with flesh." Some argue this verse describes human development in the womb, but modern science disproves it. The development of muscles and bones happens at the same time, not in the order described in the Quran. Also, the term clot in Arabic, alaka, refers to something like congealed blood or a leech-like substance. Neither of these descriptions fits the early stages of an embryo. Then there's the claim about the sky being a protective ceiling. Quran apologists argue that this refers to the Earth's atmosphere, but ancient cultures already believed the sky was like a dome or roof. There's no mention of the gases or the atmosphere in the Quran. Another claim is that iron was sent down from the sky. Quran. Apologists say this refers to meteorites, but the same verb "sent down" is used in the Quran to describe livestock and books. Clearly, it's used metaphorically. These claims are weak when examined closely. If the Quran were truly a miracle from the Creator, it would have led to real scientific breakthroughs. Instead, we see vague language and old myth. If these verses were truly miraculous, they would have been ahead of their time. Instead, they often rely on later scientific discoveries to make sense of them. At the end of the day, the real question isn't about what's wrong with Islam. It's about what's true. And the truth is, Jesus didn't lead armies. He didn't take women as captive. He didn't demand protection money from people. He didn't use lies to spread his message. Jesus healed the sick, fed the hungry, and forgave his enemies. He said, "Love your enemies, bless those who curse you." He claimed to be the way, the truth, and the life. Unlike Muhammad, Jesus didn't just say he was a messenger. He said he was God in human form, the one sent to save the world. He came to fulfill prophecies that were written hundreds of years before he was even born. Jesus lived a perfect life without sin, something no one else could do. He died in front of many people publicly and then rose from the dead. There were many eyewitnesses who saw this happen, and their stories were written down and passed on through Scripture, still available for us to read today. So, if the truth was already shown to us in Jesus, why would you choose to follow someone who came 600 years after him, contradicted what the eyewitnesses said, used violence and caused confusion? If Jesus already revealed the truth, then why trust someone who didn't bring clarity, but instead brought more division and fear? The truth is, you don't need religion to find peace or purpose. What you need is a Redeemer, someone who can save you, who can bring you the truth that sets you free. Jesus is that Redeemer. He is the one who can transform your life, offering forgiveness, love, and eternal life. And here's the beautiful thing about Jesus. He welcomes your questions. He's not afraid of them. He encourages you to seek the truth. Jesus doesn't ask you to blindly follow, but to seek, to knock, and to find. The truth he offers is real, and it stands strong even when questioned. So if you're looking for answers, looking for meaning in life, know that Jesus is ready and willing to show you the way. So, what do you think? Can a religion that uses fear, violence, and deception truly be the path to truth? Is it really the way of peace and love, or does it hide behind threats and lies to maintain control? The reality is, the truth doesn't need fear to spread. It doesn't need to be protected by violence or deceit. Jesus showed us a different way, a way of love, forgiveness, and truth. He didn't need to hide behind threats or force people to follow him. His message was simple: love your enemies, forgive those who wrong you, and live with truth in your heart. If you're still seeking the truth, I encourage you to ask yourself, does this religion or system lead you to peace, or does it keep you in fear? Does it fill you with love, or does it leave you with more questions than answers? I'm not here to attack anyone. I'm here to invite you to seek the truth with an open heart, look beyond the surface, and ask the hard questions. Only when we seek truth honestly can we find real freedom. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button, share it with others who might need to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this. Remember, the truth will always set you free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.